Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Chaos in Southwest Nebraska. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And today we got a movie review. A little bit of controversy about a film released in the 40s that you've probably heard of, but probably, chances are, have never seen, but I have. Talking about Song of the South. Yes, I have a copy after its theatrical release due to some of the controversy surrounding it. Disney never released it for home video release in the United States, and is not available on streaming, but it is available on in other territories. And if you do enough digging, you can find anything, including where the bodies are buried. But I kid. Anyways, so like I said, there's proof again. I do have a copy. I just always wanted to see what the fuss was about. Heard about it. Me being the curious researcher that I am, I wanted to watch it myself, and I got the copy as you saw, and I wanted to watch this as objectively and neutral mindset as possible. And after viewing it, I've come to the conclusion that if you look for racism, you'll find it anywhere. Quick backstory on the film. It's a children's film released in '46. It was deemed racist, and it did, on a $2 million budget, it did bring in $65 million, so quite a few people watched it in its theatrical run. But very few people have seen it since, but they still, talk about how controversial it is. But quick overview of the plot. Takes place post-Civil War Reconstruction period. Main character, Johnny, his parents take him to his grandmother's plantation. He thinks they're going on a family vacation. Turns out his dad's going back to Atlanta to work, where he's at the newspaper. In the recovery period following the war, he gets upset. He wants to run away and go back to his dad. Uncle Remus finds him, tells him a story about Brer Rabbit wanting to run away, and he changes his mind. Brer Rabbit and Johnny both change their minds. And the story about Brer Rabbit, it's one of the animated sequences. He goes, and anytime Uncle Remus tells a story, it goes into an animated sequence. And the grandmother at the plantation gets upset with Uncle Remus because he's filling Johnny's head with these wild imaginary stories. And so Remus goes to leave. Well, Johnny's upset, so he goes to chase Uncle Remus down. Well, he gets stomped by a bull, and Uncle Remus comes back. It sits at his bedside, and the movie ends with Johnny waking up and Remus and his dad by his side, and all of a sudden a couple of the cartoon characters come to life, and they celebrate, and that's the movie. Okay, so talking about the racist aspect of it, I don't think that the creators of the film were looking to teach racism. It's a children's movie, so the plot's nothing special. The movie probably would have been long forgotten about by now if people, hadn't talked about the controversy. It's not one of Disney's greatest works. If anything, there's times where you could make an argument for racial tolerance. The little white kids loved Uncle Remus. They loved hearing his stories. The two antagonists in the live-action part of the film are two neighbor boys who are bullies. People have talked about how the blacks were not treated well in the film. Well, it's historically accurate for the time. They were free to leave the plantation. They weren't slaves. And it's, like I said, historically accurate. That doesn't make it right. I'm not defending that part of it. I'm just saying that's how it was. So I don't think it goes out of its way to teach its target audience, children, racism. It's not like, if you've ever heard of a movie called Birth of a Nation, which was filmed in 1915. I've also seen that one. Takes place before, during, and after the Civil War. That one is blatantly and openly racist. Portrays blacks as, rapers and pillagers and not good people, and doesn't even cast blacks in the role. It's white actors in blackface. Now, that one is openly racist. But it is talked about a lot because of its influence on filmmaking. You know, what it did is it was ahead of its time, you know, as far as zooming in and wide panoramic shots and close-ups. And it's still talked about because of its influence. And I think Song of the South should also be talked about in that same regard, as in it mixes live action with animation, which I could not find any examples of that being done before this film. It's not done a lot. The first animated sequence, Uncle Remus shakes Brer Rabbit's hand, and then the final scene, the cartoon characters come to life, is about the only part of that. But, you know, it's been done since then. So, really, I mean, don't judge it till you've seen it. I mean, I thought it was a big fuss about nothing myself. I could see where you could find racism. If you were black, I could see how you could be a bit offended by it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Possibly, I watched it objectively, like I said. I've seen Birth of a Nation too, and it is way worse. So, you know, if you have a chance to watch it and want to judge for yourself, I mean, go for it. But, you know, don't expect a whole lot plot-wise. I mean, I think kids would love it if it was still shown and released. It's, you know, lots of singing. It's a Disney movie. Lots of singing, dancing, cartoons. So anyway, those are my thoughts on it. I guess if you have any more questions, leave them below in the comments. If you've seen the movie and want to discuss it, you can leave that in the comments too. But if you haven't seen it, you know, don't be a troll. But anyways, that's my movie review of a 1946 film that almost nobody has seen. So have a good day in chaos in Southwest Nebraska. Over and out.